Imagine this. Your all-time favorite NFL football team has finally made it to the Super Bowl. And not only are they in the Super Bowl, but they're there against their rival. You've never been more excited. And to make it even better, it's been a nail-biter of a game. Your team goes down and scores, followed by their team going down and scoring. Your team will make a crazy stop. Their team will make a crazy stop. And before you know it, time's up. And the game is ended in a tie. What happens next? Overtime. In overtime, your team captain and your rival team captain head to the referees, where their team gets to call the coin toss. And they win. This awards their team possession with the football. With this first possession, they go down and score, and that's it. Game over. This is exactly what happened this last Super Bowl with the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. Though the Patriots became the Super Bowl champions, they never actually led during any point in the game. How is this possible? Overtime. I've been a NFL football fan my whole life. My dad changed my diaper on the Cowboys star in Texas Stadium. While I know that not everyone is an NFL football fan, in a study done by Reader's Digest, it was shown that more people tune in to watch the Super Bowl than any other game and any other event on TV. Today, I want to talk about why the NFL needs to change their overtime rules. And to help illustrate that idea, I want to cover 3 points. First, what the current NFL rules are. Second, why these rules are no longer working. And third, what rules should be the replacement. To begin, let's look at what the current NFL overtime rules are. In football, the game is divided into 4 equal quarters. After these quarters are up and the game ends in a tie, the game goes on into something called overtime. In overtime, the players who are the captains go to meet with the referees for a coin toss. The players play rock, paper, scissors to decide who gets to call the coin toss, and then they call the coin toss. The winner of the coin toss gets first possession of the ball, which means they get to have the ball the first and that they get to go down and try to score. This may not seem like a lot of a difference, but here's the trick. Once that first team gets to go down and score, if they're successful, the second team never gets to do anything. They don't get the chance to score themselves. The game's just over. The other current rule with NFL overtime is that during preseason or regular season games, which are any games that are not in the playoffs or the Super Bowl, can end in a tie if after overtime is completed, the score hasn't changed. Now that we know what the rules are, let's discuss why they aren't working. In a recent article done by some football ESPN analysts, they brought up how the ties have really messed up the postseason for the NFL. This last season, in 2016, there were more ties than any other season, and as a result, there were issues trying to decide who would go to the postseason and who would get the chance to compete in playoffs for the Super Bowl because the records and the rankings were so off because no one knew how to factor in the ties. Another problem is that it's not as much of an appealing game for fans to watch when they know that the game can end in a tie or that the team that scores first just automatically becomes the winner and the other team never gets a chance to answer back. Now, there are some people who argue that that's just how the way football works. If your defense can't stop the offense, then you don't deserve to win the game. But there are ESPN analysts who argue that that's not the way the game has ever been designed. There are 2 parts to a football team, defense and offense, and it's their job to work together as a team to win instead of just having one killer defense or one killer offense. And with the current NFL overtime rules, half of the team gets left out on the sideline and doesn't get to participate in that overtime and who really determines the winner. Another reason that this is not the best way for the NFL to handle overtime is that essentially it's all coming down to the luck of a coin toss. Now, lots of athletes know, and me, myself as an athlete, will admit that there is luck in sports. That sometimes you make a catch you just shouldn't have made, or you throw a ball that just magically gets there and you're not sure how it happened. But never quite as lucky as being the right call on a coin toss. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. In a study done by ESPN, it showed that 85% of the time, the team that wins the coin toss goes on to win the game. Now that we know what the NFL overtime rules are and what the problems are with them, let's look at possible solutions. The first solution for NFL overtime is to go back to the way things were. The NFL used to add an extra 5 minutes to the end of a game to give the teams more time to score. At the end of this 5 minutes, if it was still a tie, they just added 5 more minutes and continued until the game was over. This would not be a hard switch. All it is adding time onto the clock, not any special equipment, not any crazy rules. The second solution to the problem is right under the NFL football program's nose. It's the way the NCAA football team does it, or college football. According to the NCAA rulebook, when it comes to overtime, each team is given one possession starting at the other team's 25-yard line. This means, for example, you're the New England Patriots and you get the ball on the Atlanta Falcons' 25-yard line, which is not very far, and a chance to score. And then in return, the next drive, the Atlanta Falcons get the ball on the New England's 25-yard line. This way, they can decide to go for a touchdown, or they can play it safe and just get 3 points with a field goal. But it's still a game, and there's still more at risk, and there's still more skill required. One thing that the NCAA reports as being successful with this NFL, with their overtime rules, is that it actually increases the dedication of their fans, the number of their fans, and the popularity of their games. Because people know that a tie doesn't mean it's boring or that things are over. It means their team has a chance, and it's time to fight. Something that the NFL is finding lacking. Now back to that imaginary game of ours. Your team was doing so well, and just like that, overtime blows your shot. Today, the things we've learned can change that. We know what the NFL overtime rules are. We know why they're not working, and we know what rules can be replaced. And it may seem like there's nothing you can do about it, but really, it's the off season, the time that petitions are created and articles are published to get the NFL and the commissioner's attention to the rules that need to be changed. It's something that even simply we can do on our computers. Don't you want to know that when your NFL team finally makes it to the Super Bowl, they have a chance, whether it's overtime or not?